Hello everyone, today I'm working on this BL2. So I got this from eBay and it's far from being in great shape. Although cosmetically it's pretty good. The coupler broke off there during shipping. But that's okay, I know how to fix that. And these, I do use them with the original Rapidos. That's fine by me. So this one was advertised as not running. I tested it before and it is not running. But we'll just have a look at the shell there. The shell, everything's good. I got the two horns. I got all the handrails. And the paint looks great, so I don't have to do anything. Oh, there's a little ladder missing. Other than that, though, I don't have to do anything to it. And you can see somebody played with the wiring. The wiring is a mess. There's no insulation here even. So that has to be redone. So we're going to convert this to DCC and sound today. I sure hope there's enough room for the decoder on top of the motor. Actually, let's test this out right now. So you can convert any engine to DCC and sound. I'm going to show you how. Anyways, this is an XL Systems decoder. Comes with the speaker already on there. This is good because if you were to get an expensive ESU or soundtracks, they would not have the speaker included. You have to buy an extra speaker. So let me just get the proper instruction sheet for that and I'll be right back. This is a decoder for a GP38. So it goes into a lot of different engines. I put them in B23-7s, well, GP38, GP40, SD35, I put them in, C420. So they go into a lot of different engines. And today it's going to go into the BL2 if there's enough room for it. But I think it's going to work because it's pretty thin. If you look at it, it's pretty thin. So there's a good chance it's going to go. And the BL2 is kind of wide. You know, soundtracks, they make really good decoders. But I might have to remove this light piping, which is good because I need it for another engine. So it looks like it's gonna fit, probably. I might have to take a little bit of that weight off. Let me just remove that that light piping there, and then we'll see how close I can make it. I've got quite a bit of lead piping left over to use for another BL2, but for the rear headlight I use basically just the lens, and then for the front one I only use the piping till I'm up to the basically just past the front window, and then the decoder fits snugly in there. Let's see if I can get it up over the motor. That's pretty important. Yes, when I saw this for sale on eBay, I said to myself, somebody tried to convert this to DCC or something. All these wires, it's a complete mess. So to make sure everything fits there, I'm going to just remove the weights, and then you can see here, so this wire, some of these wires are disconnected, so there's no way, there's the wire that's, no way this would run. So I have to redo all the wiring. Oh, one of the springs is missing. Look at that. One of the springs is missing. You replace it with a little piece of cardboard, which is, I guess it was okay. I guess that wouldn't stop it from running. Just doesn't look very professional. It's okay, I've got parts units for this, so I can get a spring from that. Never noticed that when I bought it. Okay, everything else seems to be in place. I'm going to flatten out the wires because I want to know if the decoder will fit under the shell. When you put the drive in there, you have to be careful. There's a little bar there. Put your coupler bucket under there. And then I got all this mess of wires, which is completely bad. It looks like I'm just gonna tear everything out, but it's gonna fit under there. I'm gonna put less wiring when I do it. That's gonna fit perfect. So we can move on to the next step, which is gonna be cleaning the wheels, lubricating everything. It's gonna be removing all these wires and removing everything. So enough talking, let's get to work. While I'm working on the wheels, sometimes you'll see you get these and they're running poorly. They have poor electrical pickup. So often it's these little tabs here, right here, are desoldered from the wire, which is the case here. So as I go around cleaning this, I'll be making sure to manage this. Since I got to redo all the wiring anyway, I'm going to allow myself to cut all these wires here. You can see the insulation's melted here, so that is no bueno. We're gonna redo all the wiring for the whole engine. So maybe this is useful to you. You have one of these and it's completely messed up, so you need to redo the wiring. So we're gonna do that at the same time. So I'm gonna cut this yellow wire. I don't know, maybe I should keep it just a little bit longer so it can be reused. It's not very important because I've got a lot of electrical wire, so I can replace this. And that's what it's looking like it's going to be. So then once your little power truck is free from the wiring, you can just drop it, which will make it way easier to repair. So you just push on the pin here and that will release the truck. Oh, that looks very dirty. So I'll just let that drop down. And I'm gonna be rewiring everything before I put it back together. So with the truck off from the engine, makes everything way easier. Well, I'll tell you my first impressions. This is a pretty good shape. It's a good roller. So in order to remove the side frames, you just press them up. It's a lot easier to do that with the wires disconnected. And then, am I gonna disassemble this to clean this? Maybe, maybe not, because it seems to be good as far as I can tell. I took a minute to look at it under magnification. There's a lot of scenery foam in there, so that's going to make it worthwhile to take it apart. So I will. So you just pry under the wheels like this, and your wheels will come out. These gears, they're a dark blue color. So I'm hoping that I can clean it up and make the blue stand out, because I like working on these small engines and looking at all the gears. You know, the motor has a green paint, a gray-green paint, which I find very, I don't know why they do that, but I find that color very nice. So I like looking at that. So you can just spread this out like that. You can see there's a little bit of hair on there. So definitely worth taking that apart. So the gears, I'll wash them with my toothbrush and some dish soap. And then this contact strip, I should be able to remove that without causing too much trouble to the rest. Let's find out. It's sorta kinda melted in there, so I'm not gonna remove it. These I'll just clean them with my fingers, but I will run the whole gear case, the whole gearbox. I'm gonna run it. There's another O-ring made out of hair. I'm gonna run the whole gearbox under my tap, so this is okay. You can take a little bit of water. And then this wire is not hanging on by much. It wasn't soldered in, as a matter of fact. The guy just spun it around, which I guess he didn't have a soldering iron, so you gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna clean everything with my toothbrush and some dish soap. And I've got two little idlers here, which are also dark blue. So I'm hoping to bring the color back. That would be really neat. Yeah, so this is a little bit messed up too, so we're gonna be cleaning everything thoroughly and then putting it back together. Look at that, the blue color came back. And then these little gears here, this one is a dark blue, and this one is a lighter blue color. So that's really neat. And then I'm going to clean all the wheels. The wheels you can omit. You can do it or not do it. Clean them under your toothbrush and some dish soap. But for today, I think just the rag is going to be good. All right, 3 more to go. I almost forgot, while I have the side frames in my hands there, we're going to repair this coupler here. Actually, it doesn't look broken. It looks like it just fell off. Wow, that's really neat. Look at that. Oh, I should have been more careful. It just fell off. Okay. This is up, and the coupler has a little pin here. This little pin indicates down, so that should just go in there. I thought I was going to use my own parts to fix this, but I won't need to. So that just fell off. We'll just remove the little door. There's a little door that keeps it in, so we'll remove that. Easy breezy, Japanesey. Although these are probably made in Hong Kong. Yeah, how do you guys like these? This old style lifelike. I think they're okay. I mean, this would be the best time to put some micro trains or some fake knuckle couplers in there. I'm good with running it with just DCC, but horn hook coupler, rapido couplers. Remember your first train set with the horn hooks in HO? I'm going to be careful not to break everything, but that's starting to look good. So I've got a bunch of red and black wire, and you don't necessarily need to use a specific color for this, but since I have all the wires black and red, I'm going to use just a standard convention. So for DCC, this side of the track is a black wire, and this side of the track is a red wire. It doesn't really matter to how the engine functions. It's just because I'm interested in the NMRA DCC, what's conventional and what's the proper way to do it. I do it like that. So I've got these wires here that are there just for my enjoyment. So I will use them for resoldering, rewiring this engine. But that is more of a guideline than an actual necessity. You guys can do what you like. There. I will always pre-tin my wires before I do anything. Just waiting for my iron to get hot. So absolutely, I always pre-tin my wires. That speeds up the process tremendously. It's a good practice. So this is tricky because you want to get it hot enough to melt the solder, but not too hot, because you do not want to melt you don't want to melt the plastic. So it's really tricky. And of course I want it to look neat, so spend the extra time to get it just right. And then check it for strength. Now I'm ready to put everything back together. I'm going to use this side to start because it has the two little posts for the two little gears, and I am going to lubricate it. Lebel 108 is what I like to use. So you don't need a lot of lubrication, just a drop. So I lubricate these as I put them back together, and you don't need much. So I'll start with the little gears. They have a little, let me get this to focus a little bit. They have just a little round top on one side. So this side goes towards the gearbox, towards the pin, and that will line them up properly. It's nice to have everything clean. Everything's so nice and blue now. That goes back together like that, and we'll put the axles back. If you're able to remove the gearbox from the frame like that, it makes it really easy. Usually I have to do this in the frame. It's not impossible to do it. Oh yeah, I'm gonna also lubricate this side. There's just two places to lubricate. Really easy. And then that goes back with that. So this is a nice engine. It's kind of simple to work on. Just a few gears and pretty basic, but it runs okay. Can't complain. So these, they need a little spring action, but not too much. So you can adjust them at this point. And then we'll bring in the wheels. The Bell 108 does conduct electricity, so if you get some on the contacts, it's not bad. Now I am gonna put the big gear back on just so I can test everything, just to make sure I'm happy. So I'll polish this as much as I can with my fingers. It's still a little bit dirty, but I guess that's the way it's gonna go. So that, put just a little bit of oil on that. I'll put its gear on so the gear gets most of the oil rather than the case. But that rolls good. So we'll just put that back temporarily, just so I can test everything out. But everything's feeling good so far. I'm not gonna put it back on the frame Yeah, everything feels real good. So that should be a good runner when I'm done. Perfect. We'll put the side frames on, just making sure I got it the right direction there. Put the side frames back on. I'm doing it that way because I don't want to interfere with my wires. Make sure it's on the correct orientation, because I've put them on wrong before. So that everything feels good. So that wheel set is done. I'll do the exact same thing on the other side. And I remembered what I wanted to do with these. I'm gonna reuse them to wire my motor back. I'm gonna just resolder everything here, but I'm gonna use these wires. I'm gonna recycle them to reuse the motor. So I'm just gonna cut everything and recycle them for the motor. Already looks much cleaner. That makes much more sense to me. It's a lot easier to work on it like that. Okay, I've got my two trucks sorted out. Now I'm gonna rewire the motor. Now the motor leads, they should be orange and gray, but I'm gonna reuse this yellow wire here for that. But it should be orange and gray. I'm going to remove the motor completely from its frame here, and how I'm going to do it, you just pull it out, but I'm going to put a mark on it just so I know which way it was up. Just put a little mark on there just so I know when I put it back. Now I use the fuel tank to know which way was the front, so the lowest part of the fuel tank here is going to be the front. And all you gotta do is pull up basically, but well, I'll remove the spring here. Remove the spring just so I have remove this piece of wood or cardboard, whatever it was, just so I can pull up. Now usually you're not able to do this because everything's wired together. If you want to remove the fuel tank, there's a screw there. And I am going to lubricate this since I have it in my hands, although it seems to be really good. All you have to do is put just one drop of oil in the end of the little shaft. We're going to use gravity and capillarity to get it there. So just one little drop of oil, and then you use the shaft thrust motion to bring the oil in. And I'm going to run it on the bench a little bit with the oil in, just to make sure that it gets in there. But there's no reason to suspect problems with this motor. Sounds like a good runner. Oh yeah, it's a good runner. So I'm gonna rewire everything. I'm gonna clean up these strips. Now if I was being a good boy, I would take them off the engine before I solder them. In fact, I'm gonna solder them like that, because if this part gets too hot, it will melt the plastic and you won't be able to hold your brushes. Also, this would be a good time to change your brushes. For sure. So I'm going to use my soldering iron just to clean all this up at first. And then I'll pre-tin my yellow wires. And then I'll solder them in. I'm trying to make this solder as neat as possible, because it's cramped under there. I want to have as little wire as possible. I want it to look neat. So that looks pretty good. I'm going to remove the two worm gears. I'm going to wash them and relubricate them. So these are stuck in there pretty hard. Now with spring in the offering, I have to do a little bit more work on my cars. Switch out the tires, do oil changes. So that takes away from my train time. So this build is going to be in 2 parts. Actually, it's going to take me 2 weeks to complete it. So I'm going to lubricate these 2 worm gears. All my wiring is done. All my trucks are ready to go. My motor is wired. The only thing that's going to be left to do for next week is to wire in the decoder. So I'm going to clean this up and we'll leave it at that for this week. So we'll do part 2 next week. So I hope you enjoyed the video. See you soon.